Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
Oh, he's going to take a shot right away.
Oh.
And that is incomplete. Took a shot there on first down, but he couldn't reel it in. An incomplete pass leads to 2nd and 10 from the 25. Now Favre. He'll get this complete to Cooper Kupp. And he'll be taken down, but not before they work it across midfield. So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And, you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over in Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. And he played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon, and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft took 30 rounds there.
The Mississippi State man, Chris Jones, with a sack there.
Chris Jones is one of the best defensive linemen in the NFL, and I think he's at his best when he plays defensive tackle. Consistently gets to the quarterback, 9 sacks in 2021.
After the sack, it's 2nd and 19, and the road gets a bit tougher from here. Up the middle they go with Sanders.
Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st round draft pick back in 1958. It was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp. Actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles, you and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles, with quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Van Brocklin coached with the Falcons, he coached with the Vikings. And it was there during that time, I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of San Luis Obispo called Allen Hancock, and then later at San Diego.
Oh. But it's intercepted. Snatched by the safety Ed Reed. And he's able to get it back to right around the 27. Not something you see very often from a quarterback of his caliber, an opening drive interception.
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind that even he's surprised at how that one played out. But we know this guy is not going to stop him from continuing to fire as this game goes along. Probably give a little nod of respect across the field for that one, and let him know he'll be back the very next series.
So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure.
I like this. He still has the same controls as Madden 22.
Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in the conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came on late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, John Madden's record, 36, 16, and 2. That's pretty incredible. His Raiders were a factor each and every year.
They'll run it with the 85 MVP, Marcus Allen.
Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course, and the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, 1967.
And all the way in for the touchdown. AFC has taken the early lead. But Charles, here in their opening series, they said they had certain plays scripted for certain players. That looked like a well-designed play to get one of their top targets involved.
Yeah, let's face it, Brandon. A player of his talent is a problem for any opponent to defend, and we saw it right there. They tried to deny an open lane to him. He still outplayed the coverage and scored the early touchdown. Good luck trying to figure out how to defend it as this game moves on.
Terry connecting on the extra point, and that makes the score 7-0. There's been a Terry now to kick it away after the touchdown. Fielded just outside the goal line. And able to get this across the 20, but not much further as he's dropped it to 23-yard line. The NFC offense coming out here. And you know, Charles, Coach Madden always said that if he had one drive to win a game and he had to pick a quarterback, he would pick Kenny Stabler. But I think if you asked him to omit any of his Raiders players, there's a good chance the guy he'd select would be Brett Favre.
Brett Favre is always smiling. He's always laughing. He's always talking to someone. He remembers that it's a game. And if it's a game, you should have fun.
And Brandon, that always reminds me of
I feel I can see some pros and cons in this matter.
telling a coach, every time I say it's a game, you say it's a business. And every time I say
But
it's a
Favre
business,
is not a
it's a
pocket-playing
game.
quarterback.
Coach, it was always a game.
Coming up now on a 2nd and 15 following that sack. And they go play action with Favre. Now on the run, he'll throw it back deep over the middle. Thrown across his body, and it's intercepted. Picked up by 9-time Pro Bowler Ed Reed. And he's going to take this one back to the 37-yard line.
And they're certainly not giving much up to their defense, are they? Because for the second time now, that D has had to run back out on the field early after an interception. And remember, on the last drive, the opposing side took it in for 6 after that interception.
Now the AFC making their way out, and is one of Coach's favorites, another local guy, Tom Brady, who will be at the controls. And boy, Coach always admired the way number 12 could run an offense, and especially his ability to stay calm under pressure.
Tom Brady is a guy who's always looking downfield. He never looks at the rush. He hangs in the pocket, and he makes a throw. He's a cool guy, and he's a tough guy. Let me tell you, there's no one calmer in the pocket than Tom Brady.
And I know that Coach has a great appreciation for Tom Brady. He turned 45 back on August 3rd because Coach coached a guy like him in George Blanda, who played a long time in the NFL. In this game, it features legends and active players. Tom Brady qualifies as both.
1 quarter in the books at the Coliseum. What a day. It's the AFC Stars with the early lead. This is the John Madden Legacy game on EA Sports. A run right side, it's Bettis. And the reinforcements come in as they're going to stop him behind the line. Charles, you talked about John Madden and the Raiders going on a ride. Well, try these numbers on for size. In 10 seasons as a head coach, the Raiders won their division 7 times. They finished second the other 3 times, and he became the youngest coach to amass 100 career regular season victories and is still, to this day, the franchise leader in wins.
And when you think about it, that's where that rivalry with Kansas City really took root, as did the expression commitment to excellence. And boy, was it personified by the players who played for Coach Madden. On offense, how about
touchdown! Travis Kelce, a 22-yard touchdown grab. And the AFC is in for 6. So they get their tight end away from the line to the outside, and he works his way in for 6.
Tight ends are not just blockers anymore. I don't know how many more times we need examples, but here's a great one. Gets to the outside, they give him the ball pretty quickly, and they trust him to get those extra yards, and boy, did he come through, bowling his way into the end zone after the nice catch.
Vinatieri able to tack on the PAT, and it's now 14-0. The drive there only spanning 3 plays, and it culminates in a Travis Kelce touchdown. Here comes Devin Hester bringing it out. And he'll be stopped right around yards shy of there at the 24. This all attack the football in the air.
As Randy Moss says, just chuck it up there, dog, and I'll go.